Right, now this. A doctor is warning that the woke agenda is now gaining ground in medical colleges. He says diversity has been elevated above achievement and merit. Chris Rufo with me this morning. Is this accurate? Is wokeness really penetrating deeply into medical schools?
That's right. There was a recent report that critical race theory ideology has been embedded in more than half of all medical school curriculum. We even had a story out of the University of Minnesota in which students were pledging not to the dictates of modern science, but to actual kind of indigenous pseudoscience. They said that indigenous rituals are just as good as modern medicine. They had to actually chant this along with their dean during a ceremony. Things are going off the rails everywhere. Unfortunately, the hard sciences, including medical schools, are no exception.
Well, what are we going to do about this? We can't have this imposing itself in our medical colleges. We can't have this. What are we going to do?
The problem is that we certainly shouldn't have it, but we can have it. And listen, there's always been this idea that at a certain point, the woke ideologues will stop. They'll stop at the hard sciences. They'll stop at the medical sciences. They'll stop at the national defense. That hasn't happened. And in fact, you see it everywhere, from the Fortune 100 companies to the great medical schools of the country to the United States military. This ideology does not stop. It wants to conquer all of the institutions in American life, and it won't stop until people take the risk, take the leadership, and have the courage to put their feet down and say, enough is enough, we're going to start pushing back.
Yeah, you got to stand up at some point. I saw that Bob Iger, he's returned as Disney's chief executive. Some believe he's going to pull the company back from woke culture. But Chris, I think he started it. I don't see him pulling back much on wokeness. What say you?
Well, I think that Bob Iger at heart is he's an accountant, he's a numbers guy, and even though he, I think arguably is true, started a lot of these woke policies in his previous tenure, he has a very convenient scapegoat. He can blame his predecessor, Bob Chapek. He can say Chapek handled it all wrong, we're going to take a new tack. I released videos showing that during his first town hall, he pledged to start listening to customers, to stop politicizing issues. He said he was going to, quote, quiet things down on the culture war front. So these are good initial signs. I think Iger has realized that hyper-wokeness is bad for business. Hopefully he's going to pull it back from the brink, but it will be hard because he has internal activists that are vicious, that are radical, that are just raring to go. So I'm going to be monitoring this story. I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on what's happening.
Good. Chris Rufo, you're one of those people who are standing up for what's right, and we appreciate that. Welcome to the show. Good to see you, sir.